Hi, I'm Ross Purnell, editor and publisher of Fly Fisherman magazine. Welcome to Loop, where we take a deep dive into the people and the stories behind the magazine. We are sponsored today by Patagonia. They have some great new waders out, the Swift Current Traverse and Swift Current Expedition. The Expedition's right behind me. You need to check out these waders. They're super tough. I've been wearing the Traverse for almost a year now, everywhere from New Zealand to Argentina to crawling around on my hands and knees here in Pennsylvania. They work like a charm, and I love how their new stealth switch packs are so integrated with the waders. You can wear them on your suspenders, and they work great as a great package, and they're all made without forever chemicals. So they're PFAS free. So we don't have those nasty little microparticles getting in our waterways and into our fish and into our bodies. We are also sponsored by G. Loomis, American-made fly rods manufactured in Woodland, Washington. I've been using these rods ever since Steve Rajeff got me started on them basically 25, 30 years ago. Currently in my quiver, I've got some NRX Plus, Asquith, and IMX Pros. They've got a lot of amazing rods designed for specific situations. If you haven't tried some of these rods, give them a shot. If you enjoy this podcast, you can support our sponsors. Please support our sponsors, and you can support us by subscribing to the magazine. It's quick and easy. Go to flyfisherman.com. There's a little subscribe button in the top right-hand corner, and you can subscribe to the leading magazine of fly fishing. You can also follow us on social media. On Instagram, we are at Fly Fisherman Magazine. On Facebook, just at Fly Fisherman. And hopefully you're watching Loop to Loop on our YouTube channel, which is at Fly Fisherman Magazine. Our guest today, we are very honored to have Josh Miller in our studios today. Josh is, for the last 2 years, has been the coach of the U.S. youth fly fishing team. He's an amazing guide here in Pennsylvania. He's done a lot of competitive fly fishing himself. He has written a book on Euro-nymphing. You can see it right there behind him, Euro-nymphing tips, tactics, and techniques. This guy is a maestro. He is a vacuum. You do not want to be fishing up the river behind him. Welcome, Josh.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
Great to have you in studio.
Yeah, it's cool. It's only about a 3-4 hour drive for me, so cool.
And we're fortunate that you're not out guiding today. It's a miserable, terrible, rainy day, and it's been raining for a week. All the rivers are blowing out, so we get a good chance to sit down and have a chat.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
You're working with some youth this afternoon. Just tell me where you're going after the studio.
Yeah.
Sounds like you've got an event.
We do. There's it's the CVTU, I think, hosts it. It's at Messiah College. They have around 24 youth anglers. It's like a camp for conservation, for fishing, for learning a lot of things. So I'll go there this afternoon and do a little demonstration.
Yeah, Cumberland Valley Trout Unlimited, which is our local chapter, close to where we live, and every year they do a great youth program where they send a bunch of kids to a week-long camp, and I'm psyched that you're a part of that. Have you done it before?
Yeah, I was there last year. We did indoors, and it was great. For me, the comfort zone just being on the water. So today, I was like, let's do it outside. This time, they said for sure. So
that chapter does a lot of conservation work, but I think one of the greatest things they do is their youth programs. Their outreach programs are really great.
That's good.
So let's talk about you. I like to go way back in the time machine and find out more about you. How did you get started fly fishing?
Just like often, a lot of the anglers that are out there, parents, my Uncle Donnie, my dad, my mom. My mom likes fly fishing a lot. My dad loves it.
Really?
Family, yeah, we all fished, fly fished, worm fished, spin fished.
Where's this at?
My parents grew up in Western PA, but we fished a lot of Potter County, North Central Pennsylvania growing up. Do their trips very often. I remember a lot of fun with my dad and my uncle too. And just go
That's
catch 'em.
awesome. Your mom likes to fish.
Yeah, she does.
Does she still?
Oh my gosh. She even asked me the other day, she's like, you didn't give me, I always get her a fishing license for Christmas or a birthday or something. She's like, you didn't get me it this year. Like, I know, Mom, um, extra busy. I just had another child. So I'm on my second child now.
Tell me, you said
Beautiful.
you're having some sleepless
Yeah.
nights. How old's the little one?
Yeah. My daughter is, I think, around 17 or 18 days now. So my wife called. She came a little early. My wife called. I was guiding Central PA, and she said my water broke, and I, jump in the car, make it to Pittsburgh, and we had a beautiful daughter.
Amazing story.
Blessed. It's awesome.
I was actually a fishing guide when my kids were born
Were
too.
you?
Before the age of cell phones, I had a beeper. I remember.
Were you on the water when it happened?
No,
Oh.
no, never ran into it like that.
Yeah, I kind of like wanted that experience, but also like not for my poor wife's sake, But it's cool. Everything turned out great. She's great. We're blessed. Life's good.
I saw the picture. She's a little sweetheart.
She is.
We'll have to run. Can we run a little B-roll of the little sweetie?
Absolutely.
She's cute. So your parents got you into fishing in general and fly fishing as well?
Yeah. Not with any regularity or success, to be honest. My uncle kind of is the one who got me like nymph fishing, and being deliberate with it, and actually like knowing more of what's going on, how to catch fish.
I want to talk a little bit today, or a lot, about competitive fly fishing. I know I used to hear a long time ago when we did stories on competitive fly fishing, I'd hear complaints like, that's not what fly fishing is all about, some grumpy stuff like that. But that's really seemed to die off in recent years because I think people have realized that there's a lot of techniques that come out of competitive fly fishing that, hey, you don't got to compete, but you can learn some of this stuff and you can catch more fish. So I think there's been like a little bit of a worldview on it, but I do want to delve into your competitive history. So tell me about that.
Sure.
You personally, not your coaching.
Yeah. I don't remember exactly what year it was, but I remember my first competition, seeing a competition action prior for me to fish one. I practiced a few years to be what I thought was good enough to be in the competition, and it was cool. It was 36 anglers in Central PA. Took second place right away, and I was like, man, I like this. This is fun. Winning's cool. I have that spirit and nature of competing, but truthfully, learning, pushing the boundaries you're stuck in a certain amount of boundaries, so you need to figure out how to catch fish in that beat, in that section, and it just maybe be the angler I am now. We call like the way we say it is competitions is like our college for fishing. It really teaches us like a lot. We're really learning and pushing and growing, and that's why I like it a lot.
And so that was your first competition. Would that be like a state competition or regional?
That was just more of like a local regional one back. I think it was around 2010, something around then.
And how did things progress from there?
Just pedal to the metal, try to do as many as I can and learn from the best. And I was lucky enough to get kind of absorbed by the better Team Freestone at the time, with like Sean Crocker and Pat Weiss and Ken Crane, Lauren Williams. I'm just founders of amazing techniques, and especially the East Coast. And learning from them right off the bat was like, once again, it's like college 2.0, So it was cool. I'm really lucky to have those mentors and people from the start.
Those are some big ones.
Oh yeah, and there's way more. I'm going to forget the names. So yeah, but yeah, many.
Who was one of your biggest mentors in like taking it to the top level?
I think there was different ones at different times. I think sometimes the top level would be, it's hard to say. Back then, it might have been something really groundbreaking, a leader designer, a fly, or this or that. But now, the later I get, the better you get, the more groundbreaking becomes smaller and smaller. It's little nuances. And sometimes someone says something that changes a thought process in your mind, or how you think things or fish. So that's a hard one to say. A mentor to me, I want to answer this question a different way. A mentor to me is someone now who looks out for someone when it doesn't benefit them personally, and looks out for people to try to do right by them. And I have a lot of people like that I just want to say thank you to. People that have advocated.
Well, that's just the definition of a good friend.
Well, exactly. Well, that's my definition of a mentor nowadays. Just people that look out for each other.
That's
And
cool.
I'm thankful for that.
So have you personally competed at the national level?
Yeah, I've fished in 2 national championships to qualify for Team USA. The last one was in Bend, Oregon. I think I finished maybe 4th, and prior to that was in New York, Lake Placid. I think I was 4th or 5th. So I've been close to that. I've never been the best. Strive for it always. I know I have hindering factors. Maybe my height is, or my age or my athletic. There's hindering factors, but I love competing. I love trying to be my personal best I can be.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Yeah.
How did you get into coaching?
Coaching was, I made Fly Fishing Team USA. It was right prior, and it was like I forget who kind of pushed me to, but they're like, you're learning and you need to kind of give it forward too. You're learning a lot of things and you need to share that love too. That's kind of how I start guiding as well.
What came first, coaching or guiding?
Similar time frame. I don't remember exactly. A lot of that stuff gets blurry, man. Like I said, I'm pedal to the metal, just go, and I love it. So a lot of things I don't remember exactly.
So the last 2 years you've been the coach of Team USA Youth Fly Fishing.
Yeah.
And your team has won a gold medal.
Yeah, that team of amazing anglers won 2 golds in Czech Republic last year, and not just winning in the Czech, but individually first, second, and third, and then in Bosnia the year prior. And I think we took first and third, or first and fourth, or something there too. So that was pretty, for what we do, pretty amazing.
Unheard of.
Amazing. That's not
The
unheard
youth,
of, but it's pretty cool.
well, as
Yeah.
Team USA, the youth team, have they won the gold medal
We
before?
have, yeah, they've won a few times. With Paul Bork I don't know I think George maybe has a gold, and Paul, there's been a few. There's been legendary coaches prior to me, so it's big shoes to even.
Really? Who are the other coaches?
There's been a lot. Calvin Kalas actually lives really close to here, maybe 10 minutes or less.
Oh, okay.
Really cool guy, really good angler, good coach. And George Daniels coach, Paul Bork, Chris Smith, and then we're reaching back way before my time.
I know George was a coach of Team USA. I didn't know he was a youth.
He was recently a youth coach too, not too long ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah. George helps, and he, I don't want to speak for him, but he comes and helps with the clinics sometimes. This last year he did.
Yeah.
Maybe strong arm him to help this year.
Yeah, he's the man. That's
He's
awesome.
the best, man. We all look up to him for sure.
The granddad, and he's now the granddaddy of competitive fly fishing. It seems like in the U.S. One of them, anyways.
He sure is. Yeah, absolutely.
Tell me about the young men on the team last year that won gold. I mean, what?
Yeah.
First of all, like, what part of their skill set helped them get this gold medal? Like, what sets the team apart?
Sure. So what sets the team apart is, I mean, any coach might say something different, or an outsider, or they might even say something different too. But from my point of view, I believe that they work together incredibly well. They're friends. They're incredibly talented anglers, incredibly versatile. They listen. They're coachable. They are good-hearted young men. And it's, all those things kind of mesh together to really flourish, because it's hard to win, and it's hard to, there's a lot of beats, there's a lot of variables in competition that are luck involved. But if you pulled everything together on your side, you have an advantage.
How many of them are there? How many is on the team?
There's kind of 2 teams. There's the national team, which could be like 10, 15. It would be like the full team. And then from that, we pick the more advanced, I guess, or the more prepared, or whatever it would be, to fish in the championship, which is 5 fishing anglers and 1 reserve. So we can rotate that reserve if needed, or if someone gets sick or something. In Bosnia, that happened. We got sick the night before.
So how many of them went to Bosnia?
6. Same with the Czech.
And just to put it in perspective, like these 6 guys, they're all 18 and under, right? And it's kind of like a fishing trip for them, right? Like, remove the competitive aspect. They get to go with their peers, their buddies, to Bosnia on a fishing trip together, which is awesome. The only difference is they're keeping score, basically.
Yeah, it's a little more structured, a little bit more, we try to practice and try to, like, it's mental, and you're driving, or you're flying, you're driving to JFK, you miss your flight, the flight's delayed, it's 12 hours, there's a big time zone difference, and there's 2 more flights, and it's another day, and then you drive to get there, and you're tired, and then you get something, you get sick, and it's a lot more mental than just a perfect trip.
A lot of that stuff is
You know.
bonding stuff, though. If you think of
100%.
like
Yeah.
wrestling team or
Yeah.
for this age group, or a basketball team or a swim team or whatever, they go through hardships. They break down on the side of the road. You know, but they help each other
For sure.
on and off the field or on and off the water. So there's a lot of bonding that has to happen for these guys if
100%.
they're doing all the practicing together and stuff.
Yep. Yeah, we call it kind of like in the trenches. We're digging together, working together. You know, when it sucks, it sucks for everybody. When it's great for everybody, kind of thing.
But these guys become lifelong friends.
I sure hope so. And I hope they're friends with me or friends with, you know, the travel people, the people we meet, the other coaches, the other teams. Pierre Kunz just won the world championship for the adult. You know, I met him many times. It's like that special bond that we get to have with the best. And it's really cool. You know?
Who are the guys that went to Bosnia? Can you throw out their names?
Yeah. So the ones that have aged off, Noah Shapiro, he's been in New Zealand fishing, which when you were there, I was like, man, that connection. He's an incredible angler. It's extremely, how would I say, we call it fishiness, but he has more to it than that. He has like instinct that's pretty great. And, you know, instinct, I look at it as like you're kind of born with it, or you have to figure it out. I was kind of that way. I need to like figure out my fishiness. It took me a long time. He kind of has it naturally. Some people do more than others, in my opinion, but he's incredible. So Noah, Drew Bone, he's a guide on the San Juan. Just got married. Great person. He won the world championship in Bosnia. Incredibly talented angler.
So, and then he turns 18. He can't compete in the youth anymore. Now he's a guide on the San Juan.
And before that, he was too. And a lot of these anglers are guides. They work for fly shops. They're not, you know, a lot bigger than just competitive anglers too. And I think that's great because it gives back, and it's all a whole encompassing lifestyle. Truthfully.
Yeah.
You know.
Who else?
So with that team, it was Drew and Noah. Those are the ones that aged off. They got, you know, they're too old now. That was 2 years ago. And then Cage Kostler. He's from Oregon, I think. Once again, dude, they're all amazingly fishing. Incredibly. I could say the same thing about all of them. But incredible angler. He won the world championship last year in the Czech Republic. And then Max, he is from Colorado. He's one of the best lake anglers too. He's kind of, for this year in Idaho is our world championship in July. And he's kind of who I'm relying on to really give the team that boost because he's a really great lake angler, and we have 2 lake sessions
coming up.
Yeah.
But I want to focus on last year, first of all, Czech Republic.
Oh, man. So think about this. Like, you know, we hear Euro nymphing, Czech nymphing. We hear Czech Republic. You know, we're fishing like the I don't know, the place in the Czech Republic. You know, we're fishing their stream. We're fishing like the place. And it's awesome. And I think what helped me mentally, which none of it's about me, it's all about the anglers. I don't want to take any credit for anything. But for me, being there in 2000, and I think it was 17 with Calvin, I was the manager for that world championship. So I got to see like the venues already and had that like boots on the water, and which I think is such an advantage, you know, just to have the pre-practice. I remember like the restaurants, the practice places.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to these places, like, you know, you go on a family vacation to Czech and you go to Prague, or you go to wherever and you go to the city where you fly into. We go to the city and then we drive 9 million miles to the middle of nowhere, you know? So we're seeing the country in a really cool way. You know, it's like going to Central PA and going to the Elk Creek Tavern, or, you know what I mean? We're seeing like the cool stuff. But because of that, there's less road maps for us. There's less English. It's hard to navigate, if that makes sense. So being somewhere prior kind of cuts that like 2 days of like, where do we go to eat? Is there a grocery store? How do we, you know, so like that helps a lot, having that like either good guide, American speaking guide, or English, you know, in the area, or being there prior. But the Czech was incredible. Well, sorry, I got down the long wind. Think of beating the Czech in the Czech. I feel was very hard because they're very good at what they do on their water. It'd be like take George and on his home stream. Like it's really very hard to beat him there, or Pat, or what, you know what I mean? So it was to me, it was like a big accomplishment for those young anglers.
Czech Republic, like I know it's a big country, but
Yeah.
like where you were fishing,
Mhm.
what's it like? Is it
It looks like out, not quite here, but if you go, 40 miles to the west, central PA, those rolling mountains, farmlands.
super
It's
green, a
beautiful.
lot of spring
Yeah.
creeks?
Oh, I don't know if there's a ton of spring creeks. The one we fish is like a dual tailwater. They have like different generations or water discharge areas, or I don't know exactly how it works, but it was
It was really green and lots of
the
rolling
trees.
hills
Yes,
and
yes.
mountains and
Yes, that part I fished a good bit of the Eastern Europe, and it reminds me of a lot of Central PA. Yeah,
Eh, is the fishing the same too?
the fishing's very similar, sometimes very different. I mean,
You're fishing for brown trout? What?
there was
I've
brown
never
trout.
fished. I've never fished there, so I'm curious about the
beautiful.
fishing.
Yeah, brown trout, grayling rainbows, and then they call them whitefish, or subspecies would be like nace, barbel, perch, maybe zander. Just I don't know exactly, but
The rainbows would be wild.
I think rainbows were mostly stocked. The ones that we caught
Okay.
on the Vltava was the river we fished. Yeah, yeah. And there's
What-
browns.
What's the name of it?
Vltava, VLTVA.
Vltava.
Yeah, Vltava. Yeah, it has different sections from like crazy gradient pocket water to flat, limited trout, mostly whitefish. So
And how do you choose? There's some sort of a lottery system
yeah.
where you end up getting on a good beat or a terrible beat, or
Yep, exactly. And
so there's a little luck involved.
there's a lot of involved. Oh, yeah, and it's what angler starts where. Hopefully if there's a lake, the premier lake angler starts there and he has good foundations right away, or so there's a lot of luck just where they end up going. So there was 5 venues, 5 anglers, there are 5 different sectors on the river, lower sector, mid sectors, and then upper sector, and one angler would go to each per day, and then the next day they just rotate down the line. So the one upstream would go to the sector downstream slightly, and then the one at the bottom would go to the top. And they'd rotate. It'd be 3-hour sessions. And it was cool. The way we fished the upper Vltava was like this rocky, just pocket, really hard to navigate. It'd be like no real streams too much in central PA. Rocks, big rocks, but very tannic water. You cannot see very deep. And you'd step in, it'd be 6 inches, and you step a foot farther, and it'd be like 2-3 feet, and then it'd be 5 feet, 6 feet, and you can't see. It's very hard to navigate.
Well,
You're like
also hard to judge the
rock
depth
climbing.
you're fishing at.
Exactly. So different techniques are premier in a way because of that. But it's neat. The one biggest takeaway for me watching and in practice for our kind of the way we want to fish, our how do I say it? I don't want to say program, but the way like our starting off thought was we would fish the beat multiple times. And with the dark water, it seemed like anywhere in the sunlight. So it was in this little ravine, and the sun would be coming through the trees, making these little like light spots. And there'd be like a pocket here, and then there'd be a pocket a foot or 2 foot to the right or left of it that would have a circle of sunlight on it. And it would seem like a lot of times the fish would eat in that sunlight area. Not because they're cold, I don't think. I think because of maybe visibility of the fly with the tannic water, possibly. Or I have no clue. But that was the rhythm we found. We'd work quickly and then come back down, and that sun would move a little bit, and we'd target that spot with maybe more priority and pick up more fish that way. So we'd fish 300 yards or 200 yards of water in 3 hours 3 times very quickly. And then other sections, we'd maybe only fish 2 spots of the river for 3 hours. So, managing your time was huge. So as a competitive angler, so I'm going down the line, but this sets me up for something very important to me. As a competitive angler and as an instructor too for my normal anglers, someone says, how is this person so much better than this or this or this? And of course there's little things they've learned. There's flies, there's this or that. But if you boil it down, in me, it's just someone who makes better decisions. It's decision making. Everything we do, when you step, when you change your fly, knowing what to do takes time, but it's all just choices, So it's coming up with what to do is difficult, but knowing it's just a choice kind of makes people kind of break down that barrier a little bit.
And a lot of those choices are time management. I mean, you don't have a lot of time to fool around.
Yeah.
Like when I'm just out fishing, it's just like, I don't want to change my fly. I'll give it another half an hour.
Or you can just go to
But
the
you
next
can't.
spot.
You just got to be on it all the time.
Yeah.
Do a lot of these strategies, like you said, you've already been there. You already have strategies in your mind, or a lot of it's on the fly,
For sure.
depending on like what conditions are that day.
Absolutely. Someone will ask me like, what do I tell the angler prior? Like, I try never to, like I said, I want no credit for any of their medals. Those anglers won them. Those anglers are fishing. I'm just the help. That's how I look at myself. But what we try to do is come up with a plan, and then they're the ones fishing. They need to be quick to deviate if they need to. That's kind of the plan. And then what's your A, B, C, or D if this isn't working? Always have like secondary backup thoughts. And
Your role as a coach, I'm curious about, is it mostly the coaching and training that goes up to it? And then when they step into the water, they're sort of all on their own? I mean, I think of a coach of an NFL team, he's calling in the plays and running things,
Yeah,
but fishing, how does that work?
we can still to communicate with the anglers, and I try to limit or not do that very much at all because I don't want to. And each angler's different. I never want to like hinder them or mess with their mental state while they're fishing. I try, and some of that's personal things that I won't talk about too much. And some of that's maybe the mystery of what we do too. But it's them fishing. They're the anglers. They're amazing at what they do. All credit to those young anglers.
So it's not like when you go to like a youth baseball game and someone's yelling, swing, or you're not yelling, change your fly.
No, I'm not that kind of
Put on a Waltz
I'm
word.
not saying I haven't done that stuff at times, but like try not to be like that, of course.
The buzzer goes. All the training's over.
Yeah,
and,
that's
it's up to them for the next what's a session? 4 hours?
3 hours.
3 hours.
Yeah.
It's all on them, and then
like I said, not always, but I try not to be backseat coach. Sometimes I'll see a fish rising, and it's like there he is right there, or so you can assist in ways, but. Yeah.
And then when the 3-hour session is over, is that a coaching time too? Like, do you
it depends
get together and lick your wounds, or
it depends on the demeanor? As a coach, you got to like read the room too. At least that's what I try to do always. If the angler got too stumped or he's too mental on his state, you have to proceed with caution, of course, too. Maybe that's a year later. You go back to that, or on the flight home, or right in the moment. Depends on what the angler wants too. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's always a learning if the room is proper, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a good part of being a coach.
Yeah, it's all part of it. Yeah.
So looking forward now, now the U.S. is on their home turf, although U.S. is a big country.
Yeah.
Where is it? Where's the 2025 Youth Championships?
You'll be in Idaho on the Henry's Fork area, so West Yellowstone area. Henry's Fork, Warm River, Grays River in Wyoming, Sheridan Lake, and the Madison. Hebden Lake, sorry. Yeah,
okay.
Lake, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's like the premier place.
Legendary waters they get to go on.
Yeah, super.
So on the Henry's Fork, it's the Warm River stretch. I've floated that before.
It's great. Yeah, great.
Yeah, that's really cool down there. So this is all on public water.
I think Sheridan Lake might be a private venue, but I don't really know I'm not sure exactly.
In the Czech Republic, is it a lot on public water or private, or how does that?
Honestly, I'm not sure either. I know, at least I think through my 5 world championships I've been with the team, the random places where we had to get licenses, and I feel like some were very premier places. Some were like clubs. Some of the clubs we found out limit their anglers to a few times a year in those waters.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty. I don't think anything's quite public. I don't really think you got to pay something, or someone owns or manages stretches is what it seemed like.
That makes sense, and people aren't getting in the way of other fishermen. I mean, it needs to be. If you're having a ski race, the hill has to be cordoned off so that people can ski.
Yeah, there are signs on the that say like no fishing from date to date for the championships and stuff. So that was nice.
When's this happening?
This is
what are the dates?
July. I think it's like the second to third week of July.
Yeah, wonder if I'll be in the States. I'll look forward to.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to be in Idaho.
We'll try to.
I want to follow along on
Absolutely.
Instagram and see what you guys are doing.
Our team, we have amazing team this year. Amazing.
Let's go over the roster for this year.
Absolutely. Justin Hardy, great angler. He's been fishing lakes a lot. He's been doing really good practice. I've heard great things of him in practice this year. He lives in Pennsylvania, Western PA area. Amazing dude. We have Lawson Braun. He is fishy, dude. He's works as a fly guide for a long time. He's in North Carolina. I know you could guide people listening. You ever go to North Carolina, guide with Lawson. He's awesome. He's humble, level-headed, smart, just good dude. We have Max again. Like I said, Max, one of the best lake anglers. I'm leaning on him. I think he's going to be really important for this. I know he will be. We have, maybe the fishiest, Blake Hall from, I think he lives in Virginia, Tennessee, Virginia area.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even going to talk about him because he's just too good. He's too fishy. He's awesome. He's awesome. And he's, I think he was in Bosnia and the Czech, and he's just fishy, really good. And we have Landon Cook, another Western PA young angler. He's guiding. He's a fly tying service. Awesome kid, a born leader, natural abilities, just super. And we have our newer angler to the team would be Ethan. He's from, I think, Utah, which he has kind of the hometown advantage from living out there. And he's fished those venues a good bit too. So
yeah, a lot of those guys, it seems, are from the East.
Yeah,
except for the Utah guy.
It's weird that like it switches back and forth, and oftentimes that's where we do our clinics or what coaches are more. So everything we do is volunteer. You know, we volunteer a lot of days a year, and sometimes it's hard to have, you have a coach or someone volunteer once or twice, and then you got to find a new one, so it rotates. But wherever kind of the excited coaches are, that's where it's easier to do clinics to have anglers come and learn
to recruit, train, and all that stuff. You're volunteering your time
for sure. Yeah, and we love it. I love teaching, and that's really my passion is instruction. I love instruction.
And when you're not guiding and teaching people, you're coaching and teaching people, or going to colleges and teaching kids.
Yeah, we do clinics around the country. We're always trying to I just want to be a teacher of this sport. I love it.
What's the key to doing well in the 2025 championship?
I can't.
It's kind of
I'll tell you afterwards.
Oh, a secret. Oh, you got some secret strategies?
We have things we're working on, of course, that are priority. Yes, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's the fun of it.
Are you doing practice sessions right now?
Yes.
Like training is going on right now, I assume.
We just did a 5-day training camp in Colorado last week.
Really? Where at?
We did it in the South Park area, not too far from Denver. Yeah.
Yeah. So on the South Platte.
We did. It was just lakes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, those are some awesome lakes.
Well, we had.
So you're on like Spinney and Antero and those big reservoirs.
I just had my daughter, so I wasn't able to go.
Oh, okay.
Which was a bummer, but I was there in spirit and in phone calls every 20 minutes. But we were so lucky. The kids had Cody Bergdorf and Jack Arnott just fished on the World Championship as for the adult team in the Czech Republic, just winning third for their championship. They came and taught some of the youth anglers, so super. Thanks for those guys.
Wow, pass the knowledge down.
Oh man, and that's the coolest. They were on the youth team too. I think I was coaching when Jack was there 10 years ago, or 8 years ago. I don't think Cody. Maybe.
Wow,
I don't remember, but it's neat.
What a great heritage.
Yeah, it's super.
Anything that gets these young guys into it and out fishing and stuff, and I'm sure they are like inspiring other people that are in their age group, I
sure hope so.
I mean, they're going home and they've got their own group of friends and stuff that they're out fishing and teaching with. So that knowledge and that passion spreads. It's super cool.
Yep.
I wanted to talk, well, first let's talk about your fly patterns.
Yeah.
I'm very curious about that. You did a story.
I did.
And let me remember, it's in the October, November, December 2024 issue, the last one of 2024, you wrote a story, Simplified Euro Nymphing. And I thought it was pretty cool because you don't carry a lot of flies. Your fly boxes are super simple, and mine are super obnoxious. I have so many different patterns.
Yep.
You have like an amazing and simple system. Can you talk about it?
Absolutely. Yeah, I try to instead of carrying a lot of flies, I try to carry a lot of ways to fish. I try to have a lot of methods to present flies to fish in different ways, depending on how the fish are, depending on the conditions and how I am, and just the whole. Try to rely on my technique over my fly patterns. What I'm trying to say, and you have to have a lot of ways to fish if you really go down that path, because it's kicked my butt doing so. Sometimes the fish are on something specific, and I'm getting my butt smoked, but that's okay. I try to figure out ways to catch those fish without having to always rely on my fly pattern. If I fish one river my whole life, or if I fish just a region, it would probably be better for me to figure those things out perfectly better. And maybe, man, if I had that many techniques and the right flies, shoot, I might catch too many fish. So I'm giving myself maybe a little more challenge too, in a way. Just joking, but just kidding. But I believe because we fish so many places, we're fishing, all around the world, all around the country, relying on your technique versus your fly. And that, I believe, that has a little bit to do with our two wins back to back as a team. Flies did matter, flies do matter, and flies can matter, but so can technique, and just limiting myself fly wise made me only be able to rely on my technique and keep building it, which even this year I've expanded my technique base, and just things are opening up so much where if I would have relied on my fly, I don't know if I would have got that mental expansion.
Yeah. I think that's like Jedi level, because one of the things you observe with beginning fly fishermen, or you're out in a public event, on the water, people are always yelling at each other, what fly are you using?
For
What's
sure.
the fly?
Yeah.
Or when I'm with a beginner trying to get them, or like, make 10 casts and the fish isn't biting, so they think they need to change their fly. And a lot of people have change your fly itis. It's got to be the fly. But what you're saying here is a lot of times it's not the fly. It's you and what you're doing.
It sure can be the fly. Don't let anyone hear that wrong. It sure can be. But more times I found that it is what I'm doing, or the lack of what I'm doing. So Euro nymphing, how I explain it nowadays, is if you look at like a number line, from 0 to 100. So the easiest fish is on the left side of that number line, north towards the 0, and the more difficult fish is north towards the 100. You can only catch fish so far, with technique only gives you so much. There's fish that are just difficult to catch in the river. You can't catch all of them, But the further you get towards those more difficult ones, the more Euro nymphing, I feel like, at times gives you more versatility, more ways to create drifts, more ways to present flies to fish, and with better connection, with better whatever it is. But what I like to explain is this: the more you get closer to those fish that are difficult, and the more you learn technique wise, Euro nymphing has so many variables that you can do it wrong that many times too. You're almost what I like to say is you're setting yourself up potentially for a disaster too, because there's so many ways, if your rod's too low, too high, too this, too that, swinging this. So in that sense, there's so much. It's a lot to learn, but it's fun. But because of that, I try to absorb that and focus on that, put my foot on learning those methods so deep and not relying on my fly. That's kind of how I got to that point. And then I start catching more fish. And I learn, you get to one run and the angler catch 1, 2, 3. And like, man, the fish are on. Go to the next run. They're not on again. And then the next run, oh, they're on all of a sudden. Are they on? Was the weight just appropriate for that run? Or were they just in contact? And the other times they weren't in contact, and they changed the fly instead of changing their technique. There's a lot to it. I don't know exactly what's going on always. I'll never say I do. But I try to really adjust my technique and really just have a lot of ways to fish.
A technique-focused approach.
Technique-focused approach, 100%. Yeah.
So I looked in your fly box. A lot of them is variations of Waltz worm. Is this?
Everyone asks that. They're like, man, this color. Truthfully, I run out of a dubbing color. I just grab the next one. Honestly.
Really?
Yeah, oftentimes. Yeah. Yeah.
But how's it organized? Like, tell me about your weighting system or your identification system.
Absolutely. Mine's always by weight for sure. In fly style, mayflies, caddis flies, so Waltz or in France flies, or Waltz and pheasant tails. It's mostly what I'm fishing. And it will be from maybe 1.5 millimeter. So that would be the bead size, the bead diameter, 1.5 millimeter, which in different beads, is different weight. So I try to do the same companies always, so they're similar of sense, but 1.5, 1.8, 2.0, 2.4, and then down the line.
So everything's organized by
Try
those
to-
two sort of food categories
Yes,
and by
yes.
the bead size
Yes.
and the weight.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. And the more I fish, the more I try to fish lighter and lighter, and the more I enjoy fishing lighter and lighter. And sometimes I catch more that way. So,
Yeah, and
sometimes
plus
I
you
don't.
only have to have one fly box
Yeah, yeah.
instead of
No, and there's, like I said, there's way too many times in life where I'm like, man, I wish I had blah, blah, blah. But to have blah, 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 I'd have to have blah, blah, blah. And it'd be too much. I just couldn't carry that much. You understand?
yeah.
If I had to have that specific all the time, I just couldn't have that specific on from Wyoming to Pennsylvania to Iceland to wherever I am next.
But there's other times when there's events happening like damselfly nymphs in lakes or
A little different.
cicadas or something like
little
that. It's a
different. We call
different
those the
thing.
extremes.
Then you need that
Sure.
fly.
I call that the
But-
extremes.
yeah.
You have your meat and potatoes, and then you have your extra things that happen. Yeah.
Yeah, but the old adage is, 95% of the time they're just down there eating nymphs. So
I want to say on
That's-
some rivers, it's 99.99% of the time. I believe that. There's
Yeah.
sometimes I'm guiding all day. I see 0 fish rising. We caught a lot. So I know that's true. But sometimes in different fisheries are different, of course. Sometimes they're just eating the scuds under there all day long,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
But your story is on flyfisherman.com right now. People can go search that up if they want more details on simplifying their nymphs system. People can also pick up your book on Euro nymphing. Tell me what motivated you to write a book? How did this come to pass?
So I was when I was young, maybe early teenage years, I had a local fly shop I'd go to, Jim Hoy, amazing man, rest in peace, great guy. Did a lot for our local region of fly fishing, just super. And I'd go into the shop and he'd show me these books of his legends and his people he looked up to. And he'd always be opening something and showing me something. And I was like, why are these people so special? Why are these people, what made that, in seeing his life light up when he opened that book. I was like, that's special. I was like, man, if I could try to, if I learn enough to be able to do that for someone, that's a true honor. And that's kind of like was my motivating factor. Like, man, if I can learn enough and I could present something to fly fishing that can help people, I'm in.
What was a really influential book in your life?
Truthfully, not a ton. I'm not that much of a reader. I'm not very good at reading. I struggle with reading actually. So I've been a hands-on kind of person. I've been a communication kind of person. That's how I learn.
Learn from people.
Yep.
That's why the competitive fly fishing world's good, right? You can just jump in and watch people and talk to people and share secrets.
Everybody learns a different style. Mine's doing. I like to say, so when I'm instructing with normal, we call them recreational anglers, normal anglers, not competitive anglers. I say, do you want to drive the race car or do you want me to drive it and you be in the passenger seat? So you could see what the car can actually do. I'll be proficient. Like, man, I got it. And I'm like, well, you got like 1% of what it could be. There's so much more vastness of it. Sometimes it's not right for me to drive the race car until it's their 3rd time with me or 5th time with me. And then they could see, what's more possible and what's more, there's another way to learn.
So when you're driving the race car, you've got the rod and you're showing them what's up.
Yeah, just different, just different ways to do things and the next level. Call it the onion. You learn just so basic. And I have this one angler, Jeff, one of my great friends now, Jeff Robinson, super guy. He's been guiding with me, I don't know, 10 years. He's a competitive angler. He's a great angler. And just last year, he's like, why didn't you tell me this 5 years ago? It's changed my fishing. I was like, well, and he called me. He's like, I wasn't ready for that. And I was like, maybe, or maybe I just didn't know that yet too, because I'm always seeking, man. I want to, I'm never satisfied. I want to just continue my lifetime to be the best I can. I think what most of us do, but
yeah, with the competition coming up, you're a volunteer coach and there's other people helping. What does it take for the U.S. to put on a competition like that?
Oh man,
what's happening out in Idaho? Who puts this thing together?
So there's some organizations that it's called U.S. Angling. It's the U.S. Angling Federation. U.S. Angling is like our governing body, I want to say, for the United States. And then Glade Gunther specifically is like the point person for the world championship. He's busting his butt, man. I I wouldn't want to be in his shoes, but I appreciate what he's doing, and I'm thankful someone's doing it because I think it's very difficult. I did my first competition as I set up the nationals for the youth last year on Spring Creek, in Central PA, and on Big Fishing Creek. It was great, and just that was. I have a couple more grays from that, because it's a lot of work and it's a lot of moving parts. So.
But now there's teams coming from all over the world.
Oh man, there's a lot of money involved. It's a lot of forest permits, this and that, travel, buses. It's a lot. It's a lot.
How many teams do you know?
All right,
From countries.
I think there's around 10, and then the U.S. The women's world fly fishing event will be at the same time too with us in partnership.
Oh, great. Is that normal, or this is a first time?
They've been doing some piggyback ones where there's some, but I don't think with the youth, we've been with the ladies piggyback before.
So the women's competition will be on the same venues, kind of? Or?
Yes. Maybe the lake will be different times of the day or different sections, and the rivers will be different sectors too, as my knowledge knows.
Well, that's a nice way to piggyback it, and you could do all your ceremonies and events together, kind of.
And I think it's easier if you're traveling with bigger countries, with more people at one time. Maybe it's a little more value there with the price. I'm not sure, but
who's on the women's team this year? Do you
know?
We
we have amazing. I know there's one lady from North Carolina. I just met her. I forget her name. She's really good. We have Tess from Central Pennsylvania. Ashley Wilmot. I don't think she's fishing it, but she's amazing from Central PA.
Tess, I know Tess. I need to get Tess in
Feather
here.
Cook. Yeah. Tess is great, man. Tess is great. You know her.
Yeah. I've run into her a bunch of time on Pens and other places.
Oh man,
that's cool. That's all happening together.
Mm. Yeah. And Norm is their coach, Norm McTima. He's like, George Daniels, like the OG of like, he's like the OG of youth fly fishing competition. He's like, I don't know anyone prior to Norm. He's the best, man. He's great. I remember his last nationals was the one in Bend, Oregon that I fished. And he won that. He walked out. He's like, I'm done, competing now. But now he's coaching. That's super. Yeah. He's super.
Paying it back. That's cool.
Yep.
Tell me about your guide business. Where do you? How long have you been a guide?
I've been a guide for I don't. Timelines are weird. I think it was like 10 years plus. Central Pennsylvania mostly. Some of the best streams we have.
You name your business is Trout Yeah.
Trout Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I focus on, people say, what is guiding? Well, we're instruction based. We're just instruction, teaching. We want you to walk away with it with what you wanted and way more. Not just.
So you're not out there just to catch a bunch of fish. It's an instructional session.
Some people will come just to catch fish. Some people will book us, and that's fine too. But we want to teach. I want to be there teaching.
All walk and wade.
100%. Yep.
And do you focus a lot on the Euro nymphing, the nymphing techniques, or are you out chasing hatches, trying to get dry fly fishing? Both.
When hatches are there and there's fish rising, it's almost doing them a disservice not to throw a dry fly at them.
Yeah,
it's a disservice. Yeah. But sometimes, if someone booked me for just specific matching the hatch, I'm going to send them to Tom Waltz, or I'm going to send them to someone that really knows it well. If you want to learn maybe new alternate techniques with dry fly fishing with really long leaders, light rods, and casting and stuff that's more advanced without matching patterns as much, then I'll teach you some of that stuff. But if you want to match hatches right, I'm not your guy. That makes sense.
But you're out there to teach your techniques and stuff, so you don't plan your life around what's hatching.
No, of course not. No, you saw, like I said, my box. But I do have dry flies to match things to competitively how we try to. Which sometimes we love dry fly fishing. Sometimes that's a fish that it's a freebie in a way. It gave itself up. It's eaten. You throw it dry at that sucker. But a lot of anglers, book to learn tight line, Euro nymphing techniques, mostly I would say. And the funny thing is, oftentimes we dry dropper with the Euro setup. 5 minutes after tight lining, I'm a dry dropper. Like, oh, what is this? I thought we were gonna do tight line. I'm like. By the end of the day, they're like, man, you made me a believer out of this stuff, and they're like, why? Why do we do that? Maybe it's conditions, maybe it's angler's ability, maybe it's the fish, maybe it's this or that. But having a open mindset to what I thought Euro nymphing was 10 years ago to what Euro nymphing is to me, this moment has changed extremely dramatically.
What is the big change?
Euro nymphing to me is not just like, a heavy nymph and a long leader. It could be a dry fly with a nymph underneath on a long leader. It could be floating the cider with grease leader techniques. It could be implementing jig streamers or swinging flies. It's so much. And then each one of those has tons of variables too. But if you rely on your fly, you'll never get there.
Yeah, and I think that's what I liked about your book. Really went into a lot of these different techniques and stuff that sort of next level, not the old style anchor fly.
I look at that book as a transition into the next thing. There's still way more. That's like I look at that book as a stepping stone fundamentally to start thinking about the next thing. I like to say when I'm teaching, be very honest about it. I don't know the answer, but what my teaching is trying to do is to make you think deeper, make you think what's going on, make you understand. Someone's like, oh, my cider's like this. Well, what's your fly doing and why? Why is it working? Why is it not working? Why you think you're connected? Why aren't you connected? Just the more about almost I call it like a reverse engineering. You want your fly to do what? So then you learn how to cast to get your fly to do that. How you design your leader to flourish that drift or to hinder something else. That just deeper thinking of the technique and what you're trying to accomplish versus, I put on X fly and I did this.
Is there like a leader system that you have just walking out from the car every day, or?
Yeah, I fish 2 leaders, a really light one, and so it would be this diameter. It would be around full leader from fly line, 5.5x, thin, lightweight.
Mm-hmm.
Dry dropper really far away with it. Can be connected a long distance. It fishes a certain type of drift, which we'll call drift A. And when fish are in drift A mode, it's going to flourish. Then I have a leader for when they're in B mode. So if they're actively eating, so I call them when the fish are attacking, or you need to attack the fish. When the fish are sleeping versus like eating. And I don't mean sleeping, but just more timid. I have a leader to focus more on those techniques. A slightly heavier would be around maybe 8 to 10 pound. And that creates a little more sag, it just creates different things. I can float the cider with it more. Grease leader techniques. Yeah. But it's getting...
Well, and that's those are your 2 starting points, but you're refining this stuff.
And sometimes
based on what you see.
Yeah. Sometimes like you said, you make 10 casts and you're lazy, you don't change your leader. It is what it is. And you go to the next pool. But yeah, there's so many adjustments. Like I said, it gets so vast where you can equally do it as wrong too. There's so many ways to do it where I don't mean to say it wrong, but there's more problems.
Do you have perfect vision? What's your...
I recently got my eyes checked and it was pretty decent, but I do notice I feel like I'm getting a little older. I have 2 kids.
Seeing stuff is pretty key.
It is. It's very key. Yeah.
Or are you more of a like go by feel? I mean, it's everything, but you're watching.
There's intention for where you think the fish are gonna be. There's that like predetermined. You're like there's gonna fish to the fish. Sometimes they're like, I didn't even see the bite, and I'm like, man, I don't even know what I saw, but I caught the fish. There's some that intuitiveness too, but I rely on my eyesight to answer the question. Secondary would be feel, and there's some grips and ways to. Gordon Vanderpool, North Carolina coach, showed me a way you can hold the line, which encourages you to feel it, which is incredible. But
how's that? How do you hold the?
It's neat. It was he learned it, I think, from Vladi, the Czech angler, a long time ago. But when you hold the rod, whoever's not watching and listening, you hold the rod with your thumb on the top, the backbone, like a normal casting, and you pull your middle finger out and you put the line in the second crease towards your hand, the bigger crease. You bury the line in there and you squeeze it. And what will happen is the line will drape over your pointer finger and you have little hairs on that. And when a fish eats, so I did a lot of filming myself too. I love watching myself and critiquing myself. That's how I learned a lot too. But I'd be drifting and I would notice the line right by my finger here in between my reel and the first guide pop up. And then I'd set. You go watch my videos, you'll see it. The line will pop up, and it'll be such a crazy delay. Boop. And with that distance in my eyesight, the further away you are, the lighter the leader, this or that, you're at a disadvantage, and it's crazy. But but the point is, you'll see it there oftentimes, and having that line drape over the back of your finger, you'll oftentimes
Just because that's a sensitive
Yeah,
part of your
sensitive.
finger.
Versus-
I'm
versus-
feeling it right now. It is very sensitive,
yeah,
isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah. It's, this is callous. This side, this is not at all. So, and just middle of winter, you're dead vertical. Those fish are barely eating, and it's almost like it feels like it taps your rod. That real, it's you feel it right there.
Oh, what a great!
It's just
what a great tip.
in my book, I kind of write of my vision is number one, which it is, and I almost like neglected sometimes that's a sense that I don't even think about. Sometimes I take things for granted too, where I have to step back and be like, okay, what am I actually doing here? So how I wrote my book, sorry, getting off the topic, but how I wrote my book was like, I didn't know what to really write about all the time. I'd fish all day and I'd go home and talk myself through it. Like this is what I did. This is why and then I learned so much. Then I go and hear myself talking, and then I would type it out and then adjust it. That's kind of how I do it, because it's coming from my mouth first, because it's hard for me to write that stuff. Writing was a challenge.
You're thinking it through
I'm
first,
thinking
and
it through.
experimenting with the things on the water.
And then I can hear myself talk about it. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense to me. And then I'm like, let me adjust that. So it's kind of cool. But that's how I wrote my book.
What are your plans now? Is it going to be another book? Or?
Oh man, I'd love to.
This one's selling like crazy, is what I've heard.
I don't know what it's selling.
Well.
I'm thankful for anyone who's bought it and supported me in any way. I'm very thankful.
And people can get in touch with you. You're at a lot of shows, right?
Yeah, I try to get out there, man.
I see you at the fly fishing shows and stuff like that.
Sure am.
Doing presentations.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do like individual presentations, like clubs?
All the time.
Chapters want you to come and have a chat?
I've done more in this area of like the Kennedy and CTU, and there's like 4 right in this area. Absolutely.
Doc Fritchie is
right
Fritchie,
here. That's a good one. Oh, Kennedy's in Bedford, I think. Yeah, Doc Fritchie. I've done that.
Doc Fritchie is actually where our offices are. Like, we're in their area, and where I live is Doc Fritchie, and Cumberland Valley's just down the road. Those are the 2 big ones in this area.
There was one at a church. I think that's the Cumberland one. That was one I did last year.
Yeah, they change where they meet.
And then one at like a cattle place or something close to here. I don't know.
That's probably Doc Fritchie. Sometimes it's in a fire hall.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's cool.
Cool. Well, it's good to catch up with you.
Yeah, thank you.
Say hi to all the peeps down there at CVTU. Can you also let people know how they can get a hold of you?
Yeah, troutyeah.com. Josh PGH, my Instagram. I don't do much on social media a ton, but yeah, you can follow me that way.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for coming in. And you can follow us on social media. Our Instagram is @FlyFishermanMagazine, and it's the same for our YouTube channel, where you can watch this. And if you just heard Josh, just the audio version of Josh talking about his finger positioning and stuff like that, you really want to go to the YouTube version and see how he was talking about holding the line and feeling the strikes and using the back sensitive part of your index finger. So check that out on our YouTube channel. Thanks again for coming out.
Thank you.